So today I'm going to be doing another Q&A video. I've been sent some awesome questions this month. Thank you to everyone that sent in questions through my Instagram and the YouTube community tab. So let's get into them. So first up, why do I choose to live in Bangkok and not on an island somewhere? And that is a good question. I do see the allure of wanting to live on a beautiful island somewhere and kind of work remotely, but I would get bored. I need the stimulation of a big city. There is so much to do here. I look at my friends that live down in Pattaya and they just hang out in bars all the time, and that doesn't excite me. I want the variety of a big city, and also for making content. There is endless content, there's endless stories out there here in Bangkok, and I do think I would sort of run out of ideas living on an island. The great thing about Thailand is it's super easy to travel. I do weekends away with the girlfriend all the time and we go to the beach. Jom Tien Beach is just an hour and a half drive from here. I was in Koh Samet a couple of weeks ago. I also traveled down to Hua Hin and what's the other one down there? Cha Am. I went there with the girlfriend. So being based here is awesome, and now that I have a car, I'm able to go to the beach quite easily. What is Thailand like during the rainy season? I definitely wouldn't say don't come. I think it's still great to come that time of year. It's quieter that time of year. I personally like the low season here. In terms of the rain, it will rain every day, but it usually only rains for about an hour or so max at any given time. You do get the odd day where it kind of rains all day, but that's just a rainy day. For the most part, the weather's good 90% of the time. You'll just have that 1 hour of downpour. So the recommendation is, if it starts to rain, go grab something to eat, go have a massage, go have a beer, and wait for it to pass. But I will say, when it does rain here, dear God. What personal goals have you set for yourself, and what would I like to improve on from last year? I don't have a whole lot of personal goals. I'm in a really good place at the moment. I'm currently in the process of dieting and trying to lose a bit of weight. That's a main one. But basically, I just want to continue what I was doing last year. Last year, I wanted to start saving and investing more money and just kind of keep things rolling. I want to do more travel this year. I moved last year and bought a car, so I spent a whole lot of money doing all of that. So that got in the way of me traveling. So this year I want to travel a bit more. Basically, just keep doing what I'm doing. I want to keep investing and saving money. I'm in a great relationship. I would like to continue that, and just ideally always be progressing in every aspect. When will I make another feature-length film? I definitely want to do it. I had an awesome time. If you haven't seen my Japan travel documentary, that was my favorite video I've ever made. It's the video I'm most proud of. And it was really cool to document an entire trip in one video like that. I've since rewatched it myself a few times. The video performed pretty well. It got, I think, around 50,000 views. I'd hoped for a little more, but really happy with the performance of it. And it is something I would definitely like to do again. And something I will do this year. I want to do at least one this year, ideally a few. How do you find places to film, and how long does it take to make a video? How long does it take to make a video? Kind of depends on how I find the places. So the biggest challenge for me is finding places where I can sit down and talk to the camera. So I'm sort of always walking around looking for somewhere that looks cool. I put a lot of thought into all my shots. So I do spend a lot of time walking around, finding these perfect places that I can sit down, where the framing is nice and what's behind me looks really cool. Also, I want good lighting when I do that. So I am a little bit picky finding these places, but basically I'm just kind of walking around and always looking for the next point that I can sit down. How long does it take to make a video? It varies so much. If I'm doing one of those 7 things I like about or hate about this, blah, 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 I can knock one of those videos out in about half an hour. Other videos where it's basically the process of my whole day, it takes the whole day. These days, I'm really quick with editing. Typically an edit takes me between 1 to 2 hours. The bigger ones that have, if I've got voiceover and I put a lot more work into the edit, they can take up to 4 hours. My videos used to take around 4 hours to edit, but now I've got that much quicker. I think I made like 600 odd videos, so you do get much quicker at the process. All right, I've got a few questions here that I want to sort of rapid fire answers. So when are you taking us to a motocross race? I'm currently looking into that. I've got a friend here that's buying a bike, and I want to go along to the races with him. So that will definitely happen. Do you ever think you will give up cigarettes? I don't smoke. I never smoked. I did in high school or whatever to be cool, but since then, never. I never saw the point. They're expensive, they're terrible for you, they smell bad. Yeah, why? How do you store all your footage? I don't keep all my individual clips. I keep the final exported file. I keep them on a hard drive. But each video I have usually around at least 100 clips per video, so I don't keep any of that. Do you ever find it hard to come up with video ideas? Not really. I have more ideas coming in than videos I'm putting out. So anytime I think of something, I think of the video title first. And if I can come up with a catchy video title, then I can plan a video around that. So anytime I think of a title, I just jot it down into my notes. Sometimes I make a conscious decision to sit in my studio and just brainstorm and come up with some ideas. But I've got a gigantic list of videos to do. In the future, do you see yourself doing vegetarian videos? Absolutely not. I'm actually doing the opposite at the moment. I'm on the carnivore diet, which is helping me lose weight, and I'm loving it. The carnivore diet is incredible. I am shooting a video on it, but it will be through my whole weight loss process. What happened to Dan the Man? Dan the Man is doing great. I caught up with him a couple of days ago. We had lunch together. Dan doesn't make YouTube videos anymore. His online courses are incredibly successful. He's become one of the leading online course sellers on the internet, and he makes an absolute killing doing that. He still has a passion for making videos. He makes silly little videos for fun, but in terms of like YouTube videos, he's not on the platform anymore. After you complete the truck, do you plan to travel around Thailand with the bike? That is exactly what I plan to do. And even before I finish the truck, I'm actually taking it down to Pattaya next week, and I'm going to take the bike on the back of the truck. So this will be my first time doing that, and that'll be a kind of look into how that's going to be. So the idea is to travel to provinces and small towns that no one's ever heard of and do some exploring, drive out, because the drive out of Bangkok sucks. Park somewhere, jump on the bike and go explore for a couple of days and then drive back home. That will all be happening very soon in the coming months. I need to do a little bit of work to the bike before my next trip, but that is a definite. I can't wait to do that. Now, on travel, if you're coming to Thailand at any stage this year or doing any travel, one thing I definitely recommend doing is making sure you have a VPN. I personally use and recommend Surfshark. God, I've been using them for a little over 3 years now. Surfshark is a leading VPN provider. You know the benefits. I've been hacked before on a public Wi-Fi. The biggest benefit to me is a lot of streaming services don't seem to work here, so you can change your location and you can get around all of that. Now, I have a great promo code you can use, that is keis1, and as I take a look at the website today, there is awesome deals on at the moment. 86% off, 4 months extra for free. These are the deals that I used when I first signed up, and I get it for free. Thank you, Surfshark. So check out Surfshark. There is a link down in the description for everything you need to know. You can scan the QR code here and stay protected when you travel. Ooh, this is a juicy one. I like this. I love it when you collab with other YouTubers. Do you ever have any that are difficult to work with? So I am incredibly selective with who I collaborate with on YouTube. I actually learned this the hard way. I featured in a guy's video who was making travel videos back in Bangkok back during the lockdowns. I just ran into him in the street and he's like, hey man, do you mind featuring in my video? I was like, cool, yeah, no problems. His channel eventually took a turn and I think he had a video blow up that was like a wet t-shirt competition, and he became one of those YouTubers that makes videos about girls in hotel rooms and all that crap, and I am forever on his channel, and that's a regret of mine. I have had a lot of YouTubers and content creators reach out to me to collaborate, and I take a good look at their content, and I am always ever conscious that, you know, if we do collaborate, my brand is attached to them. So is that someone who my brand aligns with? And where do I see them going in the future? If it's someone that chases things like sensationalism, that's kind of a red flag for me. In terms of anyone difficult to work with, I haven't, but I almost did. So there is a YouTuber in our space that reached out to me. We actually chat over Instagram sometimes, and he's a lovely guy. And he said, you know, when I'm in Thailand, I'd love to shoot a video together. And I actually told this to another friend of mine, and he warned me. He said, I've met that guy and I don't like him at all, and sort of explained why. And then I held off on meeting up with him. Another friend of mine met up with him and they went to go shoot something together, and he also told me very similar things. So I pumped the brakes on that. We didn't do that collab. I'm not going to blow him out on here, but it is something I'm very aware of, who I attach my personal brand with. Few questions about the car. This is fun. How difficult or expensive is it to import a car? It's a nightmare. You wouldn't even do it. There is a 300% import tax on everything here in Thailand. So if I wanted to bring my MR2 over here, which I would love to do, it would cost me 300% of the value of the car, which is around $30,000. So it would cost me 90 grand to bring it in here. That's before you do all the, you know, the roadworthy and get it registered and everything like that. how easy or difficult is it purchasing a car and getting a license? Purchasing a car, the process wasn't that difficult. The problem you're always going to have is language barrier and not knowing what things you need. All the paperwork is in Thai. For me, when I bought my car, I hired a Thai driver. He was like a car service guy, and I asked them beforehand, I was like, can someone come help me and just check over the paperwork and make sure everything is in order? That process all went really well, and that was smooth. The transferring of registration was a little bit difficult. I went to the wrong place the first time. You can only go to certain places, and just finding all this information is the challenging part. When it comes to doing things like changing the registration and all that, I use a service. I just pay somebody. I think I paid about 700 baht, and they did everything for me, all the paperwork. I just had to give them what they requested, and that just made my life really easy. Same goes with my license. I just paid someone to organize all of that. That is the best way to do these things, because the Thai motor registry, DMV, whatever you want to call it, my God, that's an experience. What would you do if you break down? I guess there's no roadside assistance there. I don't know. This is something I've actually thought of. I have no idea. There is like roadside, I don't know, not roadside assistance services, but I've seen a guy having his clutch changed on the side of the road. They jacked up the front of the car, and as I was rolling past in traffic, I saw them slide out the old clutch from underneath the car. If I broke down on the bike, I'd probably just leave it wherever it is, get a taxi home, and then come back and grab it with the truck. But if I break down on the truck, I don't know. I would just Google, I'd ask some local friends. There would be services for that, but the language barrier, again, is going to be the biggest hurdle. Girlfriend questions. There's always some girlfriend questions. How did you meet your girlfriend? We met online, but we didn't meet right away. So we met, we got chatting. I had a bunch of travel coming up, so we didn't actually meet in person. Every time I do in the past, it's kind of screwed that up. I'll meet someone I like, and then I go on a trip and I'm gone for 3-4 weeks. I come back and it's sort of fallen apart. After I'd finished my China trip, I knew I had no more travel coming up for quite a few months. So we finally met in person and we hit it off right away. Just thinking about that, that was a year and a half ago now. So man, time flies. Other YouTubers open about their wives and partners. Why don't I show my girlfriend's face? So early on, back when I was making daily videos and my channel was really small, I featured a lot of friends. I'd feature girls that I was dating at the time. And what I didn't realize is everything that comes along with it. People tracking them down on social media, them getting online attention, which they didn't necessarily want. For me, it was all just about fun. My channel was really small and there was only a handful of people watching. But I do believe some things don't need to be shared. I do want an element of a personal life. I want to keep parts of my life private. I want to have that separate. I do share quite a lot on here, but there are some things I want just to be mine as well. A YouTube question, how to get your first sponsor? I'm hitting 12,000 subscribers. Congratulations on hitting 12,000 subscribers. The sponsors will come. Just make sure that you're findable, basically. Make sure in your YouTube profile you have your email and a contact. Check your spam email as well, because that's where the majority of mine seem to go. But as Paddy Doyle told me back when I was smaller, he said one day you'll just pop up on a spreadsheet somewhere and people will start reaching out to you. I now have brands reach out to me almost every single day. You can go out and proactively email people and try and secure them. It is challenging. It's much easier when they approach you first. I will give 2 key points. Number 1, make sure you're marketable in the first place. Make sure you are a platform that people would want to advertise on. And 2, make sure you are discoverable. Your email is there. If you have a website or something like that, that also helps. But good luck with it. That's around the time I got my first sponsors, so I'm sure it's just around the corner. This question. Do you need a work permit for what you do? One of the questions I was asked the most, do you have a work permit? And yes, I did have a work permit. So where this gets complicated is to have a work permit, you need to work for a Thai company or have a Thai business like I did. Being a YouTuber or a content creator, we don't work for a Thai company, so you can't be sponsored, you can't have a Thai work visa. And before this was all really complicated, I got paid from the US into my Australian bank account, but I was living here in Thailand. To make it even more confusing, our pay from Google, which is an American company, actually comes from Ireland for whatever reason. So do you need a work permit? Nowadays with the DTV visa, because you're essentially, if you have a business back in your home country, which is what you would earn into, that flies these days with the DTV. What you cannot do is work for local companies if you're doing professional work for local companies or making videos For local companies, you can't do that because you would need to invoice from Thailand. This would require a Thai business and a work permit. I actually have an entire video coming out soon that's all about tax, and I cover a bit of this stuff because it is super complicated and incredibly boring if you're not interested in this kind of thing. But short answer, if you want to come here and be a content creator, you don't need a work permit unless you're doing work with local Thai companies. Just a quick disclaimer, I don't work for immigration. That's just the best of my knowledge that I've acquired. Don't quote me on that. Ooh, lots of questions about Thailand and Australia. This is a good one. In your situation, would you want to raise kids in Thailand or bring them to Australia? I wouldn't want to bring them to Australia. It's too damn expensive. My brother's got 2 kids, and when they tell me how much it costs them to put them through school and everything, dear God. I actually think Thailand would be a really good place for early on, like before they start going to school, because you can get nannies here like incredibly cheap. The cost of living is really low here, so that makes it a whole lot easier. In terms of schooling, I think for me, I actually toy with the idea of, if I'm gonna have kids, to go somewhere like Japan or Korea. I do still want to live in Asia. I want to live somewhere different. Japan has crazy good incentives if you want to move there and start a family. They give you money, they give you visa, they'll help pay for their education for the kids because of the declining population there. They're trying to sort of boost numbers in Japan. I hear Korea will offer similar things soon, and that's definitely a possibility that I'm looking into. But let's just see, that's quite a fair way off for me. But yeah, early days of having kids, I think Thailand is a really good place for that. Do you ever consider moving back to Australia? Not for a second. What do I miss about Australia? Family. That's about the only thing. Maybe my car. The weather, the changes in seasons, but I lived in Sydney and there's not huge changes. I'd love to wear a hoodie sometimes here. This is a good one. Has your move towards domestication affected your friendship or YouTube revenue? Definitely the YouTube views, right? If you head down that path of making videos about like partying and nightlife and girls and things like that, this is a really popular niche on YouTube. Some of my most viewed videos are about these topics, but that doesn't excite me. It's not work that I'm proud of. It's not something I enjoy doing. I did those videos purely just to grow the channel, and I'm happy that I branched away from that kind of thing. For me, now that YouTube ad revenue is not my main income source, it's less than 1/3 of my total earnings, I don't really care, and I want to make more content that I want to make, and I don't want to care about the views and the subs and the likes and all that sort of stuff. I want to make videos that I enjoy making and that I'm proud of. In terms of friendships, it's only with females. You know, I don't hang out with any girls or anything anymore. I basically cut all those friendships, and I'm not out partying and stuff anymore. But all of my friends that I would go out with before are still my friends. We just do different things now. The effect this has had on me, I'm in a really, really good place right now, as I'm sure you can see from the videos. And I don't miss that whole partying scene or anything at all. I've done it a lot, and I'm much happier where I am now. A couple of food ones. This is fun. 3 favorite Thai dishes. I would say my favorite Thai dish is lab moo, which is a spicy minced pork. It's Isan food. I love that. That's probably my number 1. Number 2, I'm simple. I love a green curry. I love a good green curry, one with a little bit of spice. I love spicy food. And number 3 is probably a Penang. Yeah, probably a Penang chicken, like a red curry. Penang chicken and rice. God, I'm getting hungry just thinking about that. There is a question here about moving to Thailand on the Australian pension, and this is something I get asked about quite a lot. Some countries, I believe, you can get your pension or your retirement money once you leave the country. Australia cuts all your payments, to the best of my knowledge. If you're on the pension or if you're on unemployment benefits, they cut that as soon as you leave the country. The idea is they don't want you coming out here, because you could live quite well on the Australian pension. I'm not sure how much it is, but yeah, if you're receiving money, you could come out here and live quite a good life on that. So to the best of my knowledge, most unemployment or pension and things like that, government funding, stops once you leave Australia. Do I think the weather is different this year? I think it's been kind of similar. It's been a bit cooler, which is nice. But I do wonder if that's more where I'm living now that I'm not in the city center. There was a bunch of nights I slept without the aircon on. I was up in the studio this morning and I didn't have the aircon on. It's starting to get a bit warmer now, but there's been mornings where it's actually quite cool here, and I have really liked that. All right, I'll do 2 more. God, these have been some really good questions this month. What not to do when moving to Thailand? So I've talked about this a bunch. I've made a lot of videos about this, but my main points that I will say is don't fall into the the scene of going out and partying and drinking all the time. This has happened to a few friends of mine. I know I talk about this a lot, but it's the biggest mistake I see people make. It's okay to do nothing. It's okay to stay home. Get a Netflix account. Stay at home and watch TV some nights. You don't need to do everything super quickly. I made the same mistake when I first moved abroad. Take your time. If you do everything in the first week, you go everywhere right away, you see everything, then you'll be bored after that. So take your time, really sink your teeth into the place, and take your time to discover all these new parts of living in a different country. Stay home. And the last question I'll do is, knowing what I know now, is there another path I would have taken? And no. Everything that I did, all the mistakes I made, everything led me to being right here, which is possibly the happiest I've ever been. I'm in a really good place right now. I earn a fantastic living, and all that came through weird and bad circumstances. I got stuck out of Korea back during COVID, and I had to live at home with my parents for, I think it was like 6 months or something. And at the time, I have a great relationship with my family and I really value that time, but it's not where I wanted to be at that stage of my life. But in that time, being bored and stuck in Australia, I spent time learning about YouTube and what it takes to succeed on this platform and what it takes to be a better filmmaker. And I was able to apply them all when I moved here. I only came here because Korea was closed and I couldn't see it opening back up anytime soon. So I came here just thinking I'd stay until Korea opened. And now look at the life I've created. I live in this amazing place. I'm in a great relationship. I earn a fantastic living, and everything for me has kind of worked out for the best. So wouldn't change anything. So thank you to everyone that sent in questions. There were some really good ones this month. There was a lot. I didn't get to get through all of them, unfortunately, but I will keep doing these. These videos always do really well and they're fun for me. So thank you to everyone that sent in the questions. I will see you in the next one.